After doing our third grade project in third grade and showing you guys our third grade projects, we thought that we were mainly French and English and Irish and like Scottish and kind of like in that area of countries. But after doing a saliva test with Ancestry, we figured out that we were not only English and French and Scottish, Irish. We were also Germanic, Jewish, Finnish, Swedish, Baltic, and Quebec French. And tell us about our Quebec French ancestry. So we have a Quebec and French ancestry that moved from Europe and like that side of the country, Eastern Earth, and then they moved to the Americas. But we are 57% England, Wales, Northwestern Europe. We are 13% Germanic Europe, 13% European Jewish, 7% Finnish, 6% Irish and Scottish, Scotlandian, I don't know, 2% Swedish, and 2% Baltician. I don't know how to say it, so I'm just gonna. And our major exodus to America was actually our Finnish side in the late 1800s to the early 1900s, and we actually figured out from our grandma, who actually also took a ancestry test, that it was he was probably like a great grandpa that was orphaned in Finland and moved to America. And actually one of his descendants moved to Montana, where our mom was born. So, yeah, pretty cool. After the results of our DNA test, we would like to tell you what DNA is. And basically it is hair cells, skin cells, blood cells, any type of cell really. The DNA is basically a ladder. It looks like a ladder, and it's kind of like spiraled up, so it's a squiggly ladder. And the DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. And that deoxyribonucleic acid is made up of 4 bases. And the 4 bases are adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. And those different 4 bases make up how different you are from everybody else. And every single person has a different base, which is completely amazing. So let's say even twins. Like, yeah, I'm different than Terran. I've got a different hair gene than Terran. The only difference he has is hair gene. Yep. Completely different. But I'm guessing there's a few more differences because we look different. So. I don't know. And those different bases, as I said, it kind of make up you. So, and those bases are in the DNA, and the DNA is in the chromosomes. And there's 23 chromosomes per person. And 22 out of 23 chromosomes are the same in male and female, but the 23rd chromosome is different. And the boy has an XY 23rd chromosome, and the girl is an XX chromosome. Yes. And yeah, I think that's about it. When studying our heritage, we found some cool stuff. And we are going to share the questions with you and the answers. So, Terran, what are some of the most unusual customs, activities, or holidays in Finland? Well, one really cool holiday that I found was called MIDSUMMER. And MIDSUMMER, from what I researched, is basically a holiday where they make giant bonfires and gather around them and go into the country all day. And what are the main languages spoken in Finland? In Finland, the main 3 that I found were Finnish, Swedish, and English. Also, what I find funny is that in America that nobody really is fluent in second languages, but in every other country, everybody knows English. It feels like. Okay, is schooling the same for children? Pretty much. At age 6, they're supposed to attend school. The schools are just basically the same. Computers, books, libraries, pretty the same. Okay, and what is one of the bigger historical events that took place in Finland? From what I researched, the Finnish started out under the Swedish rule, and until they won against the Swedish with Russia. Then Russia ruled them for a while, and then they won independence from the Soviet Union and signed a treaty after the war with the Soviet Union. So, yeah.
And why would you live/visit there?
When we were there, I really liked the sauning. That was like one of my favorite parts. So that was really, really fun. Because you just feel really, really good after it. Everybody's social and everybody is comfortable. So, yeah, that's cool. And I like the weather there. It feels actually pretty comfortable there. And they have a lot of cool, like, islands and statues and food.
But the real question is,
cool.
Would you live there and why?
I don't know. I'd like to live... Well, all of our family lives in Moscow. If you watch our Grandma Chocolate Chip Cookie episode, that's where we were making our chocolate chip cookies. And Bootzers. Both our grandmas on both sides live in Moscow, and basically all of our cousins on both sides live in Moscow. So I'd probably live there because I like the community, and yeah, it's nice.
Okay, and what are their main ingredients in their food eating, like their diet?
Their diet, they like lots of fish. They do have the reindeer steaks is very popular there. They also like lots of like potatoes or leeks, those type of things. And yeah, kind of like stews, pies.
Is schooling the same for children in Israel?
It's actually 6 days instead of 5 days, which is what the U.S. do. They do 5 days of school, and Jewish do 6 days. And the reasoning for that is because Sabbath day on Saturday for Jewish, it starts on Friday and ends on Sabbath day, and you're not allowed to leave the house for groceries, do school. You're not even allowed to use electricity or technology. It's supposed to be a day of family time and rest. So that's why they have 6 days of school, and the 7th day being rest. And they also have 13 years of school, so K through 13. Yeah, I think those are the main differences.
Cool.
Okay. And what languages are spoken?
Well, Hebrew is the main language, and the Jewish speak it. And Jewish is actually one of our main ethnicities that we had in the test, so I did research on that.
And this is the country of Israel.
Yes. And so the second is Arabic, the third being English, and the fourth being Russian.
Cool. Why would you want to visit/live there, and why?
I'd probably be there because there's a lot of cool places. There's the Dead Sea, Mount Carmel, Jerusalem, tombs. There's a lot of cool stuff there. But I was kind of like Terrans. I wouldn't be able to see my family a lot because it's a 8-hour, 13-hour plane ride. And I don't really like spending a long time on planes. So I probably wouldn't live there. And why? Because I wouldn't be able to see my family.
And what big historical events took place in the region?
Obviously, Jesus resurrecting, Jesus dying, Jesus getting born. All of those were pretty big events.
And what reason do you have to be proud of the Jewish heritage?
Well, I think it's a really it's a really cool part of the world. There's a lot of monuments and historical markers there.
Very beautiful.
I like my grandpa a lot, and I think he's cool, so I guess I'm grateful for that he's Jewish. And
our grandpa's 50% Jewish.
I know.
Yeah, he's half Jewish. Our dad's a quarter Jewish.
Quarter Jewish?
Yeah. And we're an eighth Jewish. So
yay! And yeah. We were researching, and we thought of a funny thing, and decided to research it. So here's the question. Why is whales called whales? Is it because of whales? If you're all wondering that, then here's the answer.
I just thought of that because I didn't know if they had whales over there. But I was wrong. Wales actually is translated into Welsh, which means invaders. And apparently there was a lot of foreigners and invaders back then when they named Welsh whales. So yeah, and yeah, that's why.
If it was after whales, it's probably a whale on their flag, not a dragon. Because they have a dragon.
The dragon is awesome.
Yeah, the dragon is cool. I get to master that drawing. This episode is brought to you by Belcampo and these other great sponsors: Thrive Market, Magic Spoon, Fresh Pressed Olive Oil, Wake Up Foods, and Desert Farms. And now back to our show. Now we are going to be doing our matzo ball soup, and these are our ingredients before me. And we have some Belcampo bone broth. It is delicious. And some fresh pressed olive oil as well. It's also delicious. This is a product of Chile. It's chili oil. Chili olive oil. Yeah, that. 2 celery stalks thinly sliced. 2 medium onions, 1/2 inch cubed, and 3 carrots sliced, all organic. And we've also got some Belcampo chicken. I'm sure will be delicious. I'm not gonna try them when they're raw. And fresh dill weed, and the knife to cut stuff with. And for our matzo balls, we're gonna do some paleo matzo balls. We have some garlic powder in a martini glass, I think, and some baking powder, 1/4 cup of almond flour, 4 eggs, and a 1/4 cup of butter, but we didn't have a 1/4 cup of butter, so we decided to use some hemp fat with it instead. And this is desert farms hemp fat, so it's even better. It's these desert farms, superfoods from the desert. And let's get started. We have our chicken, onion, bone broth, water soup cooking right now. It's going to simmer. And while that is going, I'm going to show you how to make some paleo matzo balls. So you're going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which I've already done, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 cup of baking powder, 1/4 cup of baking powder, coconut oil or hemp fat, whichever one. I didn't have enough butter, so we did a butter, hemp fat, coconut oil mix. So we're going all out for this matzo ball. And 1/4 cup of almond flour, or breadfruit flour, or gluten-free flour. 4 eggs. Every episode I have to drop one thing inside of the bowl that I'm supposed to be mixing. It's gonna be my trademark. And some flavorings. I want to put in a little bit of fresh dill weed. For tasties. And some garlic powder. Flavorful matzo balls. Then we just mix. After cooking the matzo balls at 350, they are done, and we did it for 13 minutes. So they look really good. This one's kind of small, but here's the batter that we had left. And we are making a lot of soup, so we are going to make a second batch of matzo balls, so we'll have 12 in total. And yeah, here is our matzo ball soup. It looks good. It's got carrots and celery, which we put in after the chicken was taken out of the pot. And we also shredded the chicken and put it back in. You don't have to put it back in, but at least that makes it tastier. And then these are the matzo balls. Ours, we had to make a second batch because we only made 5 the first time, and that's not quite enough for how much soup we made. So these are a little bit different than our first recipe. These are 1.5 cups of spelt. I knew I had it. Spelt flour, and the rest is the same. So I'm just gonna put them there. This looks good. What is it? It's chicken noodle soup. What? Just kidding. It's carrots, celery, chicken, bone broth, water.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Dad.
How's the cooking going?
Good.
Oh man, matzo ball soup.
So, are there any medicinal uses? Well, let's say you got a cold in the winter, and then you just be like, give me food, and then be like, okay, I'll give you this. It's healthy. It's got vitamin A, C, and D, and it's also good for colds, and it's also tasty. So cool, you would like it. Yay, I like stews. And then we're just gonna let the matzo ball sit a little bit to soak up the broth, and that's ready to eat. Wait, I gotta get a carrot.
The matzo ball is good.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep it in.
It's kind of dry, but if you keep it in, it's good.
Yes.
And the broth is really good.
Although I like the celery the best.
This would be good in the winter.
I
must say though, the chicken is better the second day.
Yes, I think it's kind of like the soup kind of made a little bit nice and soft.
It's good though.
Now we're going to move on to the Finnish part of our genealogy podcast, since we're part Finnish. And I'm going to be making some kalakukko, which is like a round bread with like fish and pork, where you can use bacon on the inside. So it's like a big, poofy bread pie, meat pie. And we're going to start out using yeast, which is actually the first time I've ever used yeast, I think. And we're going to bloom it in 2 cups of water. Get it all in there. And we're going to be using half an ounce of yeast. So each one of these packets is a quarter ounce. So we need 2 of these packets. Oops, I don't think I cut that. The next step is to mix 3 1/4 cups of rye flour and 1 3/4 cups of whole wheat flour together, and just kind of mix it together. And then you're going to add this with 4 teaspoons of salt. I'm working using table salt. Now we are going to add our water and yeast mixture. And we're using, I already said how much water, but 2 cups. And we're just gonna add it a little bit at a time, because you kind of wanna like incorporate it and then do it so you don't get as many lumps. And it'll get very hard because we have a lot of flour. And if it's too thick, then you can put a little bit more water in. And the rye flour, which actually, I think since this is a Finnish dish and rye is super popular in Finland, I think that's probably why this recipe has rye in it. And yeah, pretty cool. A cool fact that I figured out while looking over this recipe is that the Finnish flours sometimes have different gluten ratios than the American flours. So if your flour does have more gluten than like other flours, I don't know what the Finnish ratio is, but you would add less water. Now we're going to fill the kalakukko, and we're going to be using bacon because we don't have pork. And we're also going to be using some cod for the filling. And you want to roll your dough into a circle, kind of like this looks. And you're going to place down your pork first. And then you're going to put down your fish. And actually, while I was researching the kalakukko, I was kind of interested in the history of Finland. And I figured out, or I learned that the Swedish actually used to, they conquered Finland and they used to own it. And then the Finnish took it back from Russia. Or they took it back from Swedish with Russia. And then they took it back from Russia by their own army. So, yeah. Kind of confusing, but cool.
That is cool.
This is a lot of bacon and I love it.
I'm eating the pretzels. They're
Yeah.
good.
Okay, bacon is done, and now we're gonna put on cod. Ooh.
It's okay. That's why we have this extra.
Yeah, that's what
but
we did the
let's
extra.
fold those first before we do the extras.
This looks more like a square pie, or like a square than a circle now.
You can make it look like a circle if you want to.
Yeah, it's okay. I can like it like this. Well, I guess we're also gonna fold these in, so I guess it will look like a circle.
Okay.
Patching dough to patch it all down.
I don't think you need that, honestly.
No, I'm gonna put a little bit on the crack.
And then you're gonna flip this
Sheet from Twister.
because the seam has to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot.
I don't think you need any more.
I need you to help me lift it up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Here.
Oh, you're
It's gotta be fast. There you go.
Yay. I like how this character looks like a giant square circle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now what?
And we're going to put it in the oven at 500 degrees until the top is browned. And then you're going to like brush a little bit of melted butter on the browned outside. And then you're going to turn it down to 250 degrees and bake it for about 5 hours. It's a long time. So as a really fun project, because I really like pretzels, and since we did our DNA test, we figured out that we are a little bit German. The eastern Europe, eastern part of Europe, 57%. So there's some
A lot of German.
lot of German, a lot of English, a lot of all that. But we really like pretzels, so and I like Mom's sourdough pretzels.
Yeah.
So she's gonna help us teach it, or she's gonna help teach us.
Yeah, we're gonna do the fun part.
And the viewers.
Yeah, we already made the dough, and we'll
Yeah.
have a link with the recipe for making the sourdough pretzels. But now we get to do the fun part.
Of making the shapes.
Yeah.
All the kids.
And we have
love
some
this.
friends coming over today, so we're gonna make some pretzels for them.
I had to make this for 10 minutes this morning.
Yes.
Or need it for 10 minutes this
Yeah.
morning. 10 minutes really not that long.
Okay, so we're gonna split this up. So you got 6 friends, 6 of you all together.
Yep,
Well,
let's
so we'll
see.
make
1, 2,
6
no, 5.
nice
5.
big pretzels. Okay.
Unless you want one.
I might want. one.
Okay.
I'm
What
a
do you think?
friend.
6 big pretzels.
Okay, so this is how my mom taught me how to split the dough. You kind of roll it into a log and you eyeball it. Put it into 3s. Okay, like that. And then your hands are amazing because you can tell which ones are more. This one's obviously less. So put them in your hands like this. You can feel the difference
Okay.
in weight.
This one's obviously a lot smaller. Yeah, this one's obviously more, so we'll add a little bit
There you go.
more. Let's take a chunk from that one and put it on that one. And
You
these
feel it?
two-
Do they all feel
these two
good
have
and
the
even?
same-
That one still looks a
Yeah,
little
that one still
teeny
looks a
weeny.
little- I got this. Just a second.
I need a little more than that.
Let it stick to my hand.
Okay, so we each all have a dough. We'll put them in the flour
Wait,
here.
you
So
can
they
do 2.
yeah. So the hardest part of making pretzels is actually rolling them into a nice, big, long, stretchy thing. And I go like this. I hold at the ends and just kind of wiggle it.
I'm just gonna take some flour.
You can
over here.
jump rope, but the ends will get like thinner,
Okay.
so you gotta be careful, not so they don't break.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So get your dough nice and rolled out. I'm gonna move this guy out here. Nice, long.
Gotta do that
strand. These are gonna be nice big pretzels.
Quick.
These are gonna be like the ones that you get at the ballpark.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the ones with the carnivals
Yeah.
that you're like, these are bigger than my head.
That's what these are gonna be.
Remember when you made those cinnamon rolls that were bigger than my head?
Yes, I do remember that.
And I ate them in a day.
Well, we were traveling.
Yeah. It was two.
It was basically your food
breakfast-
for the day.
Breakfast and lunch.
Okay. So when you got your thing ready, I think Terran was studying on how to actually shape these. Did you want to show us?
I kind of remember.
Okay.
But is mine long enough yet? Or do I need to throw it more?
You're gonna want it kind of round. Yours is a little lumpy.
Okay.
Not to be critical.
Yeah, well, I'll shape with yours since yours.
Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
This is kind of a funny shape. How do you think somebody came up with that little
actually,
twirly thing?
I know the answer.
You do?
Yeah. Smart. So basically, in Italy, which is actually where the pretzels originated, they didn't originate in Germany, but the monks they used to so you used to pray like this, right? And the monks used to give these to the kids when they did the recited their prayers right. So you go like this. How did they pray? they put it like this. So if you see the pretzel, it's like the arms and then the cross with the two arms like this. So it's like the prayer.
Their prayer.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
What an interesting little tidbit.
Can I get some?
Yeah, so just a little note, you do not really want all these creases like this because what will happen is the dough will not rise.
Yeah, we're
well.
going to redo on River's
So
Mine too.
you try to get them as smooth as you can.
Mine was too
okay?
long. I did mine too long.
Okay.
I did mine.
I'm just gonna redo mine.
Yeah, the creases will mess up the way that it rises, if that makes sense.
Now that these have risen for 1 hour about,
1 hour, yep.
yeah, we're gonna take them and put them in some boiling water with baking soda, right?
So tell them how much.
Okay, so we're going to put a 1/4 cup of baking soda inside the boiling water, or like simmering water.
Woo! Science.
And then a 1/4 cup of brown sugar.
You can also use just straight maple syrup.
Yeah,
Or not maple syrup, I'm sorry, molasses. That's what I meant. And a lot of times people will put beer and stuff in there, and that's just to give it a nice flavor. Okay, so River, you're now transferring these to the water. You're gonna be really gentle so you don't lose all that floof that you just gained. Gentle. And we're gonna cook it in the pot for about 15 seconds on each side.
We're gonna use this for bit. Do we do two?
Yep, you're gonna need the slotted spoon. Let's just do one at a time for now. Okay, you wanna flip it?
Kind of like.
It's kind of like making bagels.
Yeah.
Gotta be really careful. There you go.
Oh no, that's close.
And this is gonna create almost like a noodle skin on the outside of it. So when it cooks, it's gonna have that really nice brown crust that you are used to seeing on a pretzel.
Is we're putting it on these or?
Yeah. So next you're gonna take this. Excuse me, Terran.
Okay. The amazing
And
spoon.
we're gonna just pull this out. You're gonna let it dry for a bit. You don't want it super soggy and wet.
He's not.
So we're gonna let them dry.
Not really any holes in it, but
That's all right. He bakes the same.
first
he
time
eats
for
the same.
everything.
Yep. All right, you want to do another one?
Sure.
Okay. So it
Okay.
doesn't really need a long time. I'll let you flip it.
Okay.
This one's smaller, so.
Yeah, okay, you can probably flip it. And that's why we flour our surface so much when we rise our pretzels, is so they don't stick. Because if they stick, then you might lose all that beautiful air that you just got from rising
Yeah.
it on there.
Good.
Yep. There's good. Beautiful.
Yay.
A little pat.
Okay. Can I have a spatula?
Put our salt, our little granulin salts on the pretzels, and you can use other like toppings as well. You can use like sesame seeds, poppy seeds, but we're just gonna stick with salt since it's kind of. We're gonna stick with salt
and normal.
seeds. Yeah. May I do one? Yes. Is that enough?
It's up to you.
Okay.
I don't know how salty you want them.
It's perfect. It's gonna be
Leave it.
Is it-
It's the flour from the.
There you go.
There you go.
I think this one can maybe.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, and then our oven is at 425, so it's pretty high heat. So these cook pretty quick. All right, so I'm gonna put them in.
How quick do they cook?
All right, we'll have to look that up.
Thank you for visiting us in this GoGreenfields episode. And we had a lot of fun with this. And if you want to see more photos and videos, you can go to GoGreenfields.com or visit our Instagram page, Facebook, and other cool social media things. Bye! See ya! Today's episode was sponsored by Belcampo. We used Belcampo bacon in our... What?
This episode is brought to you by Belcampo and these other great sponsors: Thrive Market, Magic Spoon, Fresh Pressed Olive Oil, Wake Up Foods, and Desert Farms.